Today's video is kindly sponsored by jerseyfifa.com, the website you need to head to right away to get yourself the latest high quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. And what's even better than that, you can use code JerseyFIFA at checkout to get 10% off your order. The link will be in the description, but again I just want to say a massive thank you to Jersey FIFA for sponsoring the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today I'll be doing analysis of last night's massive La Liga clash between Sevilla and of course Real Madrid. To be honest, both teams were set up pretty much exactly how we would have expected, apart from the fact that Carvajal started the game at left back for Madrid. So we'll start with Sevilla, and as we'd expect, Real Madrid looked to put them under a decent amount of pressure, with several Madrid players pushing forward to hurry the Sevilla defenders in their own defensive third. That's of course what we can see here, with several Madrid players in really advanced areas to put Sevilla under pressure. But to be honest, Sevilla done a really good job of keeping their composure in these defensive areas. And I'm sure that Lopetegui would have been extremely pleased with his side's ability to keep their calm in these areas, whilst also possessing the technical ability to take the ball in tight spaces before playing out. Having played through the press, Sevilla then looked to build possession in a middle third with a base midfield 3, and this allowed the fullbacks to push higher, but first of all I want to talk about the midfield. This is of course the shape we can see here, with the midfield 3 often taking up quite a deep starting position in order to receive the ball, and in the first half it allowed them to really dominate the match. Personally, during the first half I was actually extremely impressed by the technical quality of the Sevilla midfielders, and they really did take control of the match during the first 45 minutes with their quality. From here, one way that Sevilla then occasionally looked to progress the ball was by asking Martial to drop deeper, dropping away from his starting position up front to receive the ball and link the play in the middle third. Martial's impact on the game varied during the first half, but he did show some moments when he done a great job of dropping deeper, and this allowed Sevilla to link the play through the middle third to slightly higher. Although he did sustain an injury towards the end of the first half, and it kind of summed up his loan move so far, and despite the promise that the move had, he's really struggled to really get going this year. Instead, Sevilla's best way to progress the ball was through Papu Gomez, who done an excellent job of dropping slightly deeper on the left, before then looking to carry the ball forward further up the pitch into the final third. Again, Papu Gomez was absolutely brilliant during the first half, and he done an excellent job of finding these little pockets of space in this channel on the left, before then looking to progress the play into the final third. I must admit that I haven't really watched him enough this season, but it was brilliant and really took control of the first half, although unfortunately he was taken off very early in the second half. But back to the positive play during the first half, and this ball progressing ability from Papu Gomez allowed Acuna to push forward from his left back position, making runs into the final third before then crossing into the box. Heading into this game, Acuna was just coming back from injury, but he showed great intensity again during the first half in particular, but once in the final third he didn't really have a proper target to cross to. Ultimately, this wasn't Acuna's fault because it was a selection of Martial up front that created this lack of target in the box, but I did just feel as though it took something away from Acuna's game and it limited his impact. We also saw something quite similar over on the other side of the pitch as well, with Jesus Navas looking to make runs forward from right back and into the final third, from where once again he then looked to cross the ball into the centre. Again, we can see Navas in these advanced areas here, which again was something that we mainly saw during the first half of the match, but again there wasn't a proper target man in the box to really aim for. On top of attempting a couple of crosses into the box, Navas also got himself a key pass into a teammate, but as the game progressed he seemed to lose his composure a little bit, which isn't something we really see from him. Despite struggling as the game progressed, the two forward runs from the two fullbacks were still extremely important, because it allowed Tecatico to get at his man on the left whilst Lamela drifted in from the right. It was these two bits of movement that we saw for one of the Sevilla goals, as Tecatico done some good work down the left hand side before Lamela found himself in a really narrow position before finishing. Despite his goal, I thought that Lamela actually had a really poor game, not completing a single dribble, whilst also having roughly 85% pass accuracy, and he simply surrendered possession far too easily too often. On the other side, Tecatico had a much brighter game and he really caused a lot of problems every time he looked to get at Vasquez, although as with pretty much every Sevilla player, his impact reduced as the game went on. This would have been a strange game for Lopetegui because his team was absolutely brilliant during the first half, but in the second half his team completely collapsed, which cost them some really vital points. So now it's time to take a look at what Real Madrid done in possession, and again, as we'd expect, they were regularly pressed by Sevilla, and as a result it made it extremely difficult for Real Madrid to play out. We can see the Sevilla forwards pushing extremely high here to put the Real Madrid defenders under pressure, and as I said, for large periods, the Madrid defenders really struggled to play the ball out from the back. Normally we expect much better ability in this defensive third from players like Kroos and Alaba, but particularly during the first half, they really struggled to get going as they failed to move the ball forward. Obviously there were also occasions when Madrid did manage to find their way through the press, which caused Sevilla to drop deeper, which allowed Madrid to build possession in a back three, with Kroos dropping deep. This isn't exactly Kroos' typical role in the team, but he seemed pretty comfortable dropping into this position in between the centre backs, and as a result this allowed him to get plenty of touches of the ball during the match. As I said, this isn't exactly his natural area, but he adapted pretty well, but to be honest he didn't have his greatest game on the ball, and at times he passed up possession much more frequently than what we would expect. When Madrid were able to move the ball forward, we once again saw them looking to build possession with a line of three, with Valverde drifting infield from the right hand side to form this trio in the centre. We can see Valverde has moved extremely narrow here despite starting the match on the right wing, and it allowed him to create this base line of three playing alongside Modric and Camavinga in the centre. Just quickly, whilst we're on the topic of Camavinga, he did show some glimpses of his quality to carry the ball forward, but overall I felt that he really struggled and was certainly fortunate not to get sent off. Despite this struggle in possession, the positioning of the midfield three was still important, with Valverde being particularly important, as he made the movement inside which allowed Vasquez to push higher. During the first half in particular, Vasquez was arguably one of Real Madrid's biggest threats on the pitch, simply because of his willingness to really push forward down the right hand side, looking to attack the open space. As I said there, the energy from Vasquez carried a big threat down the right hand side, but it was a hesitance to ever put the ball into the box or really create any opportunities, but his energy was good to see. As you'd expect, this also had a knock-on effect on the rest of the match as the Sevilla left back was regularly dragged out wide, which created this little channel of space which Luka Modric looked to exploit. By now we all know that Modric loves to get himself into these advanced areas, and yet again we saw it time and time again as he burst forward into the box, although again at times he lacked any real end product on the ball. Overall, Modric had a slightly mixed game, and during the first half it felt as though that may have been as a result of the exertion midweek. However, in the second half he came out as a completely different player. As we'd expect, things were slightly different down the left hand side of the pitch as Madrid used a varied approach, with Benzema regularly dropping to a deep left position which allowed Vinicius to move inside. The chemistry between these two is something that we've spoken about all season long, as Benzema dropped into this deep wide area on the left, which then allowed Vinicius to try and showcase his dribbling ability coming inside. Despite their brilliant understanding, neither of them were particularly at their best during the first half, and that really was the theme of this match, so let's take a look at what changed for Madrid in the crucial second half. The big change that Ancelotti made was bringing Rodrigo on for Camavinga whilst moving Valverde more central, and what Rodrigo done was provide more width on the right, whilst also having that attacking instinct in the centre. Rodrigo was absolutely phenomenal as soon as he came onto the pitch, and he played a huge role in two of the goals, first finishing to start the comeback before later providing a brilliant assist for Benzema late on. I'm sure Rodrigo will have been slightly disappointed about starting the match on the bench after his impact in recent weeks, but he really was absolutely brilliant throughout the second half and he led the comeback. In terms of Ancelotti, it's a bit of a weird game to judge him because in the first half his side were absolutely awful, and the team was really overwhelmed by the way that Sevilla played, and as I said earlier, it really did look like the team had a hangover from the midweek game against Chelsea, but that changed, and I'm not sure what Ancelotti said to his players at halftime, but it certainly worked, and there really wasn't that much of a tactical switch apart from Rodrigo coming on. The bigger change was in the mentality and intensity of the Real Madrid players. As soon as Madrid got the first goal, it just felt inevitable that they were going to complete their comeback, and it does feel like a huge step towards the Liga title. As for Sevilla, this was a massive opportunity that they really wasted. They were incredible during the first half as they really took control of the game with their quality and intensity, but they lost this in the second half. And as we all know, Madrid don't need a second invitation to get themselves back into a match, and for me it's this ability to flick the switch which separates Madrid from the rest of La Liga and also gives them a chance in the Champions League. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.